If you're over 60 and you've begun waking up during the night to pee more than once, or you sense that you never fully empty your bladder, or you must stand there for what seems like an eternity waiting for the stream to begin, I want you to pay close attention because these symptoms aren't merely part of aging. They indicate that something more profound is occurring in your body, something far more prevalent than most men understand. As a prostate doctor, I have witnessed it repeatedly, and I am here to share this with you. Your prostate is attempting to capture your attention. And in numerous cases, it isn't your age that's causing the issue. It is your everyday habits. Subtle little things you engage in, perhaps without even realizing, that cause your prostate to expand larger, heavier, and more difficult to handle. But here's the positive news. Once you identify what these habits are, you can alter them. And when you make those changes, you allow your body the opportunity to regain balance, lessen pressure, and reclaim comfort. In this video, I'm going to guide you through 3 daily habits that subtly lead to prostate enlargement and what you can begin doing differently. These habits are extremely common, even among men who are otherwise healthy. But when they are repeated over time, they impose stress on your urinary system, provoke inflammation, and gradually disrupt your prostate's balance. You will discover what these habits are, why they are significant, and what minor adjustments you can implement starting today. If you are weary of the discomfort, the urgency, or feeling as though your bladder is controlling everything, this video is meant for you. And I will state this plainly, you are not destined to endure these symptoms forever. Your body has the ability to heal, particularly when you eliminate what is persistently aggravating it. The first habit that quietly expands your prostate over time is something straightforward, something nearly all of us are guilty of, especially when we're out and about, occupied, or reluctant to use a public restroom. It is retaining your urine for too long. Now, you might believe that postponing a bit extra while you complete an errand or arrive home is no major concern. But when this turns into a regular routine, holding it for extended periods before permitting yourself to release, you are generating pressure not only in the bladder, but throughout the whole prostate area. You see, your prostate is positioned right below your bladder, at the base, and it encircles your urethra like a soft, pliable collar. This is the tube that transports urine from the bladder out via the penis. Now picture that tube enclosed by a ring. When that ring gets swollen or constricted, it doesn't require much to impede the flow. When your bladder fills up excessively, whether from delaying urine during a lengthy drive, postponing it while viewing a movie, or disregarding the urge during tasks, it begins to stretch upward and downward. And that downward force impacts directly on the prostate. It is akin to pressing on a sponge that is already tender. The more the bladder expands, the more it compresses into the prostate tissue that is already tasked with a significant role. Over time, this ongoing pressure induces small yet crucial alterations that turn the once flexible prostate irritated. The tissue thickens, swelling develops, and in many men, this persistent strain emerges as one of the subtle causes of prostate enlargement. Men who habitually postpone urination, particularly those who believe they are enduring it or simply awaiting convenience, frequently end up with what we term bladder outlet obstruction. This occurs when the bladder is prepared to void, but the pathway is overly narrow. The bladder muscle has to labor more intensely to force through a constricted passage because the prostate has grown enlarged and stiff. It is not just uncomfortable, it can lead to gradual weakening of the bladder in the long run. This habit may appear innocuous. After all, what harm is there in a brief delay now and then? But to your body, it is like attempting to compel a balloon to contain more air than it was meant to hold repeatedly, day in and day out. In the end, it impacts structure, tone, and function. And unlike a balloon, your bladder and prostate do not burst. They adjust, and not always favorably. If you tend to wait until the urge grows almost intolerable, I softly urge you to alter that routine. Begin heating your bladder once more. Go when you sense the need, not when the need turns urgent. Answering sooner eases pressure and assists your whole urinary system in maintaining a better rhythm. This might appear as a minor adjustment, but in the long term, it can remove a tremendous burden from your prostate and provide it the room it requires to settle, recover, and contract back toward normal. Now, let us move to the second habit. And this one astonishes many men because it appears entirely disconnected at first look. It is the habit of overlooking constipation. When your bowel contains compacted stool, particularly from a diet deficient in fiber, that pressure bears straight against the rear of the prostate. This pressure is not fleeting, it is ongoing, like placing a brick against a sponge throughout the day, every day. It strains the tissue. It restricts circulation. It aggravates the nerves and generates a low-level inflammation that doesn't remain confined to the colon. It extends to adjacent structures, including the prostate. And here's the key point. Over time, that persistent inflammation ranks as one of the primary factors in benign prostatic hyperplasia, or what most men recognize as enlarged prostate. But it doesn't end there. Constipation also disrupts your internal chemistry. When stool lingers in the body excessively, it imbalances your gut bacteria, that sensitive ecosystem within your digestive tract. When that equilibrium is disturbed, it triggers widespread inflammation, impacting everything from your immune system to your prostate. The contemporary diet, especially for older adults, often features high levels of refined carbohydrates, low fiber, and is frequently packed with processed foods, cheese, red meat, and insufficient water. These selections hinder digestion, dehydrate stool, and lead to bowel congestion, sometimes without you noticing immediately. What begins as sporadic sluggishness evolves into a harmful cycle. Constipation generates pressure. That pressure inflames the prostate. The inflammation intensifies the swelling, and the swelling exacerbates your urinary symptoms. So if you aren't moving your bowels regularly, or if your stools are firm, dry, or require straining, your prostate could be bearing the worst of that disharmony. Fortunately, the remedy is accessible. You can start to moderately boost your fiber via natural calming sources. Consider incorporating more cooked vegetables, fruits such as prunes or pears, whole grains like oats, and basic digestive helpers like chia seeds or ground flax seeds. These foods not only ease your stools and enhance transit, but also alleviate the internal pressure on your prostate from within. And when your bowels function smoothly and thoroughly, your prostate at last gets to unwind. It is like unclogging a jammed hallway. Everything circulates more effectively when the route is clear. Now let us discuss the third habit, one that is remarkably common, particularly in the retirement phase when schedules decelerate and comfort takes precedence over activity. And that habit is remaining seated for extended durations without shifting. Whether it is unwinding in front of the television, perched at a desk with a cup of tea, browsing your phone, or enjoying a good book in your preferred armchair, the time can slip by swiftly, and before you realize it, your body has stayed immobile for far too long. What seems relaxing externally can truly turn stagnant internally. You see, the pelvic region, where your bladder, colon, and prostate all reside, is designed for gentle, ongoing motion. It flourishes with circulation. It requires blood flow and soft movement to sustain nutrient inflow and waste removal. But when you remain seated for prolonged intervals without motion, that lower section of your body becomes stagnant. Circulation diminishes. Oxygen and nutrients cease flowing smoothly. Lymph drainage diminishes, meaning your body grows less adept at clearing toxins and inflammatory waste. And those residues begin to accumulate precisely in the zone where your prostate is located. The prostate is a tender, sensitive gland. It is not equipped to endure ongoing stagnation. Like any vital tissue, it depends on robust blood flow to remain healthy. When that flow is limited for hours each day, the prostate can get inflamed, swollen, and annoyed. And gradually, this fosters the type of gradual, hushed growth that results in prostate enlargement. Men who spend long periods seated daily without adding movement are much more prone to develop pelvic tension, ongoing low-grade inflammation, and ultimately prostate enlargement. And it frequently occurs without clear signs until the discomfort, urgency, or interrupted sleep emerges months or years afterward. This is why I suggest what I term movement snacks during the day. These are brief, uncomplicated episodes of mild activity, sufficient to stimulate your circulation and signal to your pelvic area that it remains active and essential. You do not need to jog. You do not have to sweat. Even something as basic as rising every 30 to 40 minutes, strolling across the room, inhaling a few deep breaths while softly swinging your legs, or extending your lower back can restore vitality to that body part. Envision your prostate as a sponge. If it never experiences squeezing or motion, it begins to harden and gather waste. But when you introduce even slight movement, you assist that sponge in remaining pliable, refreshed, and properly nourished. Movement is not solely about maintaining fitness, it is about preserving the essence of your body as dynamic, vital, and reactive, particularly the concealed areas you cannot observe, but that subtly influence your comfort, your vitality, and your overall life quality. Even a handful of intentional minutes of movement each hour can support your prostate's health for years ahead. So now you understand. 3 subtle daily habits that gradually lead to prostate enlargement: holding your urine excessively long, disregarding your fiber consumption, and sitting for hours without any motion. These are not flashy problems, but that is precisely what renders them perilous. They creep in quietly without fanfare, and over the years they foster a realm of discomfort, urgency, and irritation. But here's the strength in all of this. Each of these habits can be modified softly, progressively, and thoughtfully. You do not need to transform your life or begin anew. You merely need to cultivate awareness of how your routine decisions impact your prostate. I have observed men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s alleviate their symptoms, decrease their nighttime bathroom visits, restore a firmer flow, and experience greater ease in their bodies simply by adjusting these fundamental behaviors. So, if you have felt exasperated, uneasy, or even somewhat fearful about what is occurring down there, draw a deep breath. You are not isolated, and you are not helpless. Your prostate does not have to dominate your life. You can nurture it just as it has been striving to nurture you. If you found this video useful, please subscribe and share it with a friend. Sometimes the most impactful changes arise from the tiniest pieces of insight. Thank you for watching, and remember, your health is not in the past. It is in your grasp, and the best is still to